To start with, for sure you are very familiar with this. NASA had earlier launched a Send Your Name to Mars campaign, inviting people all over the world to submit their names to be sent with the agency's next rover to Mars and received applications from over 10 million people. The Send Your Name to Mars program of NASA allows individuals around the world to fly their names in its future missions to the Red Planet. With more than 1 million name submissions, the Philippines topped the countries with the most number of signups for the Send Your Name to Mars campaign of the NASA. The balance of nature involved in another objection is a myth that cannot be justified by natural history, whether astronomical or biological. And that is the thing behind various space explorations. Moreover, the inevitable changes in our environment, independent of asteroid impacts, will make the Earth uninhabitable in a few hundreds of millions of years. In addition, in order to act wisely, we need an understanding of the Earth as a planet, and this requires the exploration of space. What really is the truth behind the NASA's Send Your Name to Mars campaign? Does it mean we'll go there by 2026? Are we the first civilization to land on Mars? Will there be Wi-Fi? Well, before you get into questions like that, this afternoon, let me introduce to you our first segment of Chalk Talks. This segment is specially dedicated to topics that we have discussed in our first synchronous session, and we will see how it transcends across various disciplines. We are blessed that on our first Chalk Talks, we are with Mr. Christian Di Macali, or Sir KD. He is an active member and resource speaker from Philippine Astronomical Society Incorporated and Astropinas. He is the creative mind behind the content of YouTube blog Cosmic Memory Kid, whose video of NASA's Send Your Name campaign has reached more than 16,000 views. He goes to various places, specifically the clear skies of Sagada and Zambales, to observe space from a telescope. He is now taking up his master's in physics at the Salle University, Manila. Sir KD will be sharing his knowledge about the NASA's Send Your Name to Mars campaign, what drives Filipinos to join the campaign, and his interest on astronomy. Dear learners, welcome to our Chalk Talk.
Welcome to Chalk Talks, transcending science topics that really matter. From talks about science content vlogs to social issues to prepare you for a career ahead of you. All relevant for you and the generations we are in. Here, we will relate and make sense of our Earth and life science discussions to more conscious, more exciting, and more inspiring interviews from people who are scholars, experts of their fields, student leaders, and media personalities. Chalk Talks, transcending science lessons to what really matters.
Thank you, Sir KD, Sir Christian, for allowing me to invite you. There are just few questions. Okay, it was a trend, right, over the past few days or weeks, yung Send Your Name to Mars. Well, my first question is it a factor or bluff that the names that we send to Mars are those people who have enlisted themselves to be sent on Mars? What do you say about this, Sir KD?
Bluff po yun, ma'am. Bluff po. Lilinawin ko lang po, ma'am. Pangalan lang po natin yung ipapadala. Personally ako, nag-register din po ako. Pero hindi po ako ipapadala sa Mars. Yung mga pangalan lang po. Iukit lang po yung mga names doon sa microchip.
And the next one, why is NASA asking for our names? Well, not only our names, because basically you can enlist anyone, whether it's your cat, as I have seen in your video, your pet, right? Your grandmother who passed away, for example. Why are they asking our names?
Gusto lang po ng NASA na kahit yung mga normal na tao lang, magkaroon ng part doon sa space exploration natin, sa mga pwedeng maging discoveries ng NASA. Kasi in that way, kung mag-ask sila ng names, matutuwa yung mga tao, napansin naman natin sa social media, di ba? So
Yeah.
magkakaroon sila ng involvement kahit sa simpleng bagay lang na yun.
Yeah, we take it, Sir KD, as the science people are really involving the commoners, right? The people, okay, regarding these explorations. And then, what sparked people's interest in signing up for this NASA Send Your Name to Mars? Well, as I have observed, right, Philippines, they top the list of the number of people who have sent their names to Mars. What do you say about it,
Uh,
Sir KD? Yes.
so una, yung mga Pinoy talagang active tayo sa social media.
Yes.
So, kaya pag may mga ganyan, baka botohan sa mga contest, 'di ba? Active na active tayo, number one din mga Pinoy. Pero bukod doon, sa experience ko ng pagtuturo ng astronomy sa iba't ibang schools tsaka parts ng Pilipinas, talagang naturally curious talaga yung mga Pinoy sa mga nangyayari sa kalangitan, sa space, sa astronomy, universe. Talagang gusto lang yung dalawang factor na yun na gusto natin nasa trend tayo tsaka interested talaga tayo sa astronomy naturally is yung feeling kong nag-spark nung interest natin na mag-sign up doon sa Send Your Name to Mars.
Yes, exactly. Aside from the political and the social issues that we are experiencing today, right? So everyone seems like to be on Mars and get away from the Philippines, isn't it? Based on your knowledge and field of expertise, of course, can we really live on Mars and survive there? Well, I guess it's two things, right? Can we get into Mars as the first one? And the second one will be, if we ever get there, can we really thrive or survive there, Sir KD?
Para dun sa number one, yes, kaya
Yeah.
nating makapunta ng Mars. So, sa current technology natin ngayon, meron talaga tayong kakayahan no? Pero, yun nga, para sagutin ng number two, kaya nating makapunta ng Mars, pero yung makasurvive ay ibang usapan. Kasi, sobrang ibang-iba ng environment ng Mars kumpara sa Earth. Una, mas mababa yung gravity doon since mas maliit yung Mars. So, pangalawa, mas manipis yung atmosphere. 1% lang ng Earth's atmosphere, yung atmosphere sa Mars. At bukod pa doon, yung atmosphere doon, unlike sa Earth, mostly made up of carbon dioxide. So, 95% ng atmosphere ng Mars, carbon dioxide. Kaya, yung oxygen, sobrang konti na kailangan natin. Kaya, mahirap talaga mabuhay pa tayo doon, makasurvive. So, pwede siguro ng mga ilang araw lang, pero kailangan meron tayong habitat na itatayo doon. In fact, yung NASA, may mga ganun na silang contest. Magdi-design ka ng habitat na pwedeng makasurvive sa Mars. At mahalaga, self-sustaining yung habitat. So, siguro ma'am, sa future, kaya na natin makasurvive nung matagal doon. Pero ngayon, bisita muna yung kaya natin.
Okay, that's it. And last question, Sir KD. Well, this is a personal question. What really sparked your interest to get into astronomy?
Kung people that you look up to, talagang magpapatuloy yung interest mo doon sa isang bagay. No? Tsaka, sobrang astig kasi ng astronomy, di ba? For example, yung fact na natutunan natin sa astronomy na lahat pala tayo, di ba, yung mga atoms natin galing sa mga stars, di ba? So, parang tuwing mag-stargazing ka, mag-iiba na yung tingin mo dun sa mga stars na yun. Hindi lang basta-basta mga tuldok-tuldok sa langit, kundi kung saan ka galing, mga ganong bagay. Astronomy is the gateway of sciences. Meaning, either mahilig ka sa chemistry, halimbawa, sa biology, sa geology, sa physics, may lugar lahat yon sa astronomy. In fact, hindi lang yung sciences. Kung mahilig ka sa history, pwede ka rin makapag-contribute sa astronomy. Kung mahilig ka sa arts, pwede ka rin makapag-contribute sa astronomy. So, yung ma-advise ko lang siguro, kung saan ka magaling na bagay, hanapan mo ng way kung paano mo may integrate yun dun sa astronomy. So,
that's it, Sir KD. Thank you for making yourself available. Thank you, Sir KD, Sir Christian, for allowing me to invite you. There are just few questions. All right, we are all inspired and enlightened by Sir KD's talk or interview. So, learners, please keep in mind that for those who have sent their names on Mars, you're not pre-enlisted yet for a future Mars exploration sooner or later. But instead, your names are encrypted in a microchip on a rover that will be sent to Mars. Well, moving forward, let us know why space explorations are indeed a big deal or a big thing for most powerful nations, probably the America and Russia. The 1957 launch of Sputnik and subsequent Russian firsts in space convinced many American policymakers that the country had fallen dangerously behind its Cold War rival. Consecutive U.S. administrations invested in education and scientific research to meet the Soviet challenge. These investments propelled the United States to victory in the so-called space race and planted the seeds for future innovation and economic competitiveness. That's what most experts say. Yet, since the 1990s, NASA's share of federal spending has waned. The US private sector has ramped up investment in space, and in May 2020, astronauts launched from US soil for the first time in nearly a decade a rocket built by the company SpaceX. Moving forward, for sure, most of you who are K-drama fanatics are very familiar with the King Eternal Monarch series. It is generating a lot of buzz around the world for some good reasons, of course. There are two parallel universes in this series or in the storyline. Yes, two different worlds that mirror each other with identical people living different lives in each world. Crazy as it sounds, right? For the most part, physicists did not take these ideas seriously, but much to their surprise, dark energy of roughly the expected magnitude was detected in space observations in the late 1990s. This could be our first evidence or clue that there is indeed a huge multiverse out there. Well, it has changed many minds. What I'm trying to say here is, although we have multiple Earths that exist in a parallel universe or multiverse theory, it will always matter because it will always be unique for us because this is where our forefathers or ancestors started our civilization. I'll leave you with this scripture that will help you assess your actions and what ways can you be a good steward of God's creation. That's it for our day 2 synchronous session.